Hi there YouTubers, today's no video from me here, Evelyn. We're going to be reviewing another K-drama time travel / romantic series called Lovely Runner. It stars the two main leads of Yoon Oh-suk, who stars with the title character of Ryu Sun-jae, and the female lead of Kim Hae-yoon. She stars with the name of the role of Im-sol. Apparently this is based on a manhwa. First episode starts off with Im-sol, the character. It's 2009 and she's in the hospital, and when you find out that she's paralyzed from the waist down and she's having a hard time getting to grips, obviously understandable that her leg is no longer walking, and she's completely out of it. Her mom's there taking care of her, and the mom steps out after accidentally knocking down the vase, and she gets a phone call from a radio station where this boy band called the Eclipse, with the character of Ryu Sun-jae part of the band. They're like calling fans, doing some sort of competition. So they end up calling Im-sol. Unbeknownst to her, they picked the wrong time, because when Ryu Sun-jae answers the call and says, "Do you know who I am?" she says, "I have no idea who you are." The radio station says, "Our compensation, we'll give you a holiday to do swimming, whatnot." And obviously it's a wrong thing to tell a person that just trying to get to grips that they're paralyzed. So she basically screams at them saying, "You don't realize that even though it's a nice day, there's a lot of people that don't want to carry on living." In that moment we get a sense that she wanted to take her life with a piece of a broken shard from the vase. But Ryu Sun-jae, he intervenes and gives her, what does it say? The courage, the confidence to carry on living, which the words hit her pretty deep, and she reconciles with her mom, like crying, letting it out. And then flash forward, let's say 10 years, is about 2023, that Im-sol is living with her mom and her grandma that has dementia, and the brother is also there in the picture, and she's already somewhat going to grips of being paralyzed, but she's become a die-hard fan of Ryu Sun-jae and the band called Eclipse. On episode 1, they're doing a concert after 5 years again, and then we get more of a background detail of Ryu Sun-jae that he doesn't appear to be happy with this new fame. He looks tired and worn out. This series could be a message to what's going on with the Korean pop industry, of the pressures that young idols, that they feel at the grand old age of 27, that they're basically failures, which is obviously not good. Perfectionism to a certain point is great, but when you get to unrealistic expectations, it's not conducive to anybody. So Im-sol is happy to go to this concert. We find out that she had this watch that belonged to Ryu Sun-jae that she bought in an auction. Now this watch is going to become an important part of the story. So she has a job interview, and she has her friend from high school driving her to the concert. As she gets there, she has everything, the headband of the, as a fan, and all the other things that come about it. And she gets a telephone call about a job interview of what? I think maybe architecture, graphic design. I can't remember what the job offer was. So she thinks she can get there and go back to the concert in time, but when she gets there she realizes that the place is not accessible for disabled people, like with paralysis, that there's no lift, there's no nothing. And they basically tell her stone cold, "You'd be great for this job, but we haven't got the facilities to, accommodate your needs," which is like a low blow. And in the midst of all that, when coming back to I have the episode playing in the background. When coming back to the concert, a series of events happen. She loses the ticket, the concert ticket, not her phone. And when she gets to the concert, they don't let her in, but she's there like cheering outside for support. So she decides to try to go back home on her own in her motorized wheelchair, but the battery runs out. Now, fate comes into it. Ryu Sun-jae is having issues with the band. They're kind of theorizing he wants to quit. He does tell his manager, "I want to retire," and all the other band members are not happy, so they're applying more pressure to him. So he goes back on his own with a chauffeur car, and then he sees Im-sol there on the bridge, with winter, snow is falling down, as she appears to be in distress. And they two meet. He comes out with the umbrella. Now this umbrella is going to be another big symbolism here. He uses the umbrella to cover her from the falling snow, and of course Im-sol has no idea. Well, it gets revealed that Ryu Sun-jae was in the same high school as her, but she never noticed him. She was busy, being attracted to this other young boy of Kim Tae-sung. He's got to be like the second lead, or what they say, the second lead syndrome here. She has these sweets in her pocket, and she meets her beloved idol, and he's like, "Do you need any help going back?" And she's like, "No." And then she's like, "Oh, I'm a fan." And then he points out the obvious with the headband, and she says, "Oh, thank you for everything. Here's a jar of sweets." And he looks at these sweets. Another key point. "Oh, okay, thank you." He offered her, "Let me take you home," but her friend arrives and she's like, Okay. So she's at home, and then we get a cutscene to Ryun Sunjae where there's medicine all over the table. Now, it kind of looked like it's true some of the pills were cut up. I didn't know if he was inhaling for his like nose, like snorting the medicine, God knows what. And then he's there in the balcony of wherever he's staying. And then the next we know, he plunges into the pool. And now this is lack of privacy. Jesus Christ. The paramedics are there, and there's people, fans filming this. Where's the decency here? That bit to me was shocking. And Imsol sees through the fan group chat the videos, and she's left devastated. So she goes out in her light clothes to this part of this bridge, like this little dam here, and so she ends up falling into the river per se. Actually, no, wait, like the watch that she holds precious to her that belonged to Ryun Sunjae, I think falls in the riverbank. I'll insert clips. And she's there crawling, because of course she can't walk. She grabs the watch, and then all of a sudden she travels back to 2008. She's a young 18/19-year-old student, and she has her legs back. Her grandma has no dementia, she's fine. And she realizes that she went back in time, and Ryun Sunjae is there. Now the caveat is she cannot tell anybody any future events because time stops. She's unable to say anything directly. And through episode 1 to 2, she wants to change Ryun Sunjae's fate, but she was able to change the fate of her home, because we find out that her home burned down for an accidental fire, and her mom got scarred in the hand. So she goes and she changes the future in that aspect. And on episode 2, she gets closer to Ryun Sunjae. And there's the other factor of Kim Tae-sung, because in the original timeline, let's say, Im-sol confesses her crush, love to this bad boy in the band, whatever, and he goes and rejects her. But now Kim Tae-sung is interested because Im-sol has now the maturity of they have her age at 32 years old at 2023, so that makes her interesting to him, and he gets now interested. But on the sidetrack for episode 2 to 4, we see that Ryun Sunjae fell in love first with Im-sol, but she didn't even realize that from his perspective. And that when she wanted, he was there kind of always wanting to get her attention. And we also find out that he has a shoulder injury, in which Im-sol knows that the last swimming competition that he does will be his last because he injures it further. So we see for Ryun Sunjae's background that the mom's not in the picture. Maybe she passed away. It's only the dad. Oh yeah, I think she ran off. I can't believe it all died. I'll probably put in the pictures. And we kind of get the understanding of what type of pressures he's under. Now, I'm gonna skip forward that there is the confession in which Im-sol is drunk and Ryun Sunjae finally has the chance to say I like you, but she doesn't remember because she ended up getting drunk on this wine that Ryun Sunjae's dad gave to her, because she went and gave some chicken soup, whatnot. We have that. So on the end of episode 2, she's about, Kim Tae-sung tells Im-sol, I really like you, let's go out. And before she can say no, I'm not interested, she jumps back to the present time, and she's there in shock. And now from episode 3 to 4, she finds out that she was able to change the future because the police came to her afterwards, after Ryun Sunjae's death, saying that he had this picture of you and him together. And then she realizes that the future can change, because she was really afraid that no matter what she did, nothing was going to change. And we get the sense that she has, I think, 3 tries. Her first try to change certain aspects of her life, that she ended up saving her mom. Now she has 2 more tries left to go back in time, and I think it's to help save Ryun Sunjae, and the third one her legs. Well, we just don't know. Now from episode 3 to 4, Kim Tae-sung gets the sense that certain aspects he realizes that Im-sol acts very immature, like the proper age how she was, and then other aspects she acts very mature, the person that he's interested in. So he tries to pinpoint that, and Im-sol is kind of like, yeah, let's put it that way, because she knows she can't say anything of the future. Now the time travel aspect is kind of getting to the part of, what came first, the time travel or the past, because we start to realize that Im-sol has clear gaps in her memory, because when she had the accident, she had no idea who saved her or whatnot, and we find out in the flashbacks that Ryun Sunjae was the one that saved her, because at the end of episode 4, she ends up missing some bus stops. She ends up falling falling asleep in the bus, and she ends up in this really shady stop where there's a drunk guy, and Run Sun-jae is always there, seeing if Im-sol is safe, the way he knows that, I'll go back to the umbrella, that she's okay, she's out of the house, whatnot, is that she's taken the umbrella that they have outside of her house, and he doesn't see that. And when he walks by the bus stop, he sees her falling asleep in the bus going off, so his instincts takes over and he catches a taxi, and then he follows her all the way to the part where Im-sol is like trying to walk away from this drunk guy, and she ends up falling into the river or this small lake, down wherever, and Run Sun-jae jumps in and ends up saving her. And in that moment she remembers he was the one that saved her originally when she got hit by the car. So it's kind of like, what came first? Time travel, this, that, and there's some spoilers that maybe that Run Sun-jae is gonna also do time travel. Well, the series is okay, it has these cute moments, whatnot. They better not do a red herring or like mislead people, because there's theory going around that Run Sun-jae didn't take his own life, the character, that somebody else murdered him. Let's not do a disservice to the message of this show. Let's not do a disservice, because it's kind of like, if Run Sun-jae remembers one aspect of Im-sol, and however she all of a sudden, because Run Sun-jae does talk about in his point of view that Im-sol doesn't remember the time they spent together, or even who the hell he is. So if the series can explain that, and for it to make sense, I'd be like, okay. And if they backpedal on him taking his own life, the message of the series goes down, and it goes into this typical tropes of misleading people. So that's my general gist of from episode 1 to 4. You let me know what you think about the series, and as I leave you always, stay safe, and to any new viewers, really appreciate if you can hit the subscribe button. As I leave you always, bye!